All right, today we're going to dive into a challenge that I know keeps a lot of people in the cloud space up at night, trying to tame the absolute beast that is multi-cloud compliance. We're going to lay out a really clear, strategic framework to get it automated and turn all that chaos into actual control.
Does this look familiar? I bet it does. You're trying to keep everything secure, everything compliant, but you're constantly jumping between AWS, then over to Azure, then over to GCP. You know, each one has its own playbook, its own set of tools, its own lingo. It feels like you're spinning a dozen plates at once.
And let's be honest, it's not just spinning plates. It feels like you're completely lost in a maze, right? But, and this is the good news, there is a map. There's a clear strategic path to navigate all this complexity and actually come out on top. And that's exactly what we're going to walk through right now.
So first things first, let's really get a handle on the terrain. We're calling this Section 1, the compliance maze, because, you can't conquer the maze until you understand what it's made of.
This is the stuff that causes the daily headaches. You've got these fragmented policies because a rule in AWS just doesn't map one-to-one in Azure. You're trying to master completely different tool sets for each platform. Then there's configuration drift, that silent killer where a tiny change someone made 2 weeks ago suddenly throws everything out of whack. And of course, this all leads to those agonizing manual audits. And the biggest problem of all, no single pane of glass to see what's really going on.
All right, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the mission. Section 2 is all about establishing unified governance. This is where we stop playing defense and start taking command of the situation.
So how do we get everyone to speak the same language? Well, we need a common standard, and that's where CIS benchmarks come in. Think of these as the gold standard, globally recognized best practices. And the most important part, they're vendor neutral. That means we get a common set of rules we can apply across AWS, Azure, and GCP. This is our foundation. This is our Rosetta Stone for compliance.
This right here is the end game. We're getting away from scattered spreadsheets and conflicting rules. The whole point is to build one single source of truth for compliance. It's about taking a process that feels totally chaotic and turning it into a system that's controlled and predictable.
Okay, so we have our standard. Now what tools are we going to use? Let's jump into Section 3, because the best part is we can leverage the incredibly powerful native tools that you already have right at your fingertips.
These aren't some expensive third-party tools you need to go buy. These are your built-in security sidekicks. In AWS, you've got AWS Config. It's like a time machine for your configurations, letting you see who changed what and when. Over in Azure, Azure Policy is just a beast for applying rules at scale. And in GCP, the Org Policy Service gives you that strict top-down control. Our framework is all about uniting the power of these three.
Now we get to the heart of it. Section 4, the automation engine. This is the practical, step-by-step process that actually puts our whole strategy into motion.
And you know what? It's really this simple. It's 3 core steps, working in a constant loop. First, we scan everything, all the time. Second, we automatically fix whatever we find that's broken. And third, we report on it so we always know exactly where we stand. Scan, remediate, report. Let's break each one down. Step 1 is all about getting total visibility. Using those native tools we talked about, we set up a system that is constantly checking our resources against our CIS policies. This isn't some dusty once-a-quarter audit. No, this is a real-time 24/7 watchdog for your entire multi-cloud environment. Now, finding a problem is one thing, but fixing it automatically, that's the real game changer. So in Step 2, the moment our scanner finds something non-compliant, an automated workflow just kicks in. Maybe it's a simple alert that pings a Slack channel, or maybe it's a full-on self-healing script that reverts the misconfiguration on the spot. This is how you stop drift before it even starts. And finally, Step 3 closes the loop. All of that amazing data from the scanning and the remediation gets pulled together into a single unified dashboard. So now, when an auditor comes knocking, you're not scrambling for a week. You just click export. This gives everybody, from the engineers on the ground to the C-suite, a clear, up-to-the-minute view of your compliance posture.
So, what does this all mean for you and your job, day to day? Well, our final section here is all about how this framework transforms not just your environment, but your actual role within the company.
Look, without this framework, you're the firefighter. You're constantly putting out fires, reacting to problems, chasing alerts, and just dreading those manual audits. But with this automation engine in place, you become the guardian. You're proactive. You're governing the entire estate with automated controls. You're enabling continuous compliance.
You get to be a strategist, not just a technician.
So I'll just leave you with this question. We all know the cloud never ever stands still. It's always changing, always growing, always evolving. With a framework like this, you're not just trying to keep up, you're actually staying ahead of the curve. So the real question to ask yourself is the way you're doing governance today really built for that reality?